At this time, Boy Scout Troop 442 will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance of the American flag.
Color guard for march. Color guard out. Color guard present colors. Salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard reform. Color guard retreat.
Thank you all. Y'all may be seated. I'd like to welcome everyone to the July 2016 Blount County Board of Commissioners meeting. At this time, if you would give your attention to the emergency evacuation procedures.
Before we get started, let me read the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency evacuation, an alarm will sound. Everyone should exit the building by way of the nearest stairwell in a safe and effective manner. If the nearest stairwell is blocked by smoke, use the other stairwell. Do not use the elevator. Once you have reached the main floor, follow the exit signs to exit the building and quickly proceed away from the building. Please be mindful of others evacuating and of emergency vehicles.
Commission will come to order. Please register your presence by voting yes.
Mr. Chairman, we have 19 present, 2 absent.
19 present, 2 absent. We have a quorum.
Sean Melton absent, Sean Daly absent.
We have 2 absent. 19 present, 2 is 21.
Miss Daly's here. It's not registering.
We had the same problem last month. Commissioner Lambert has a conflict schedule, and Commissioner Melton is present. You're hard to miss, Commissioner Melton. We have 20 present, 1 absent. Is that correct?
Yes.
This time, the chair will stand for a motion to set the agenda. Commissioner French moves. Is there a second? Commissioner Caskey seconds. Motion is to set tonight's agenda as published. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to set the agenda. Vote no not to set the agenda.
Just a minute. What's this? Yeah. I say go ahead and go on. What's happened? I'm sorry. It's locked up.
So we have to reset the whole board.
Here we go.
Well, Commissioner French is marked as absent, so it's going to be.
To change that on the next.
If you're in favor of setting tonight's agenda, please vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, we have 20 yes, 1 absent.
20 yes, 1 absent. The agenda is set. The next item is item B, the consent calendar. The chair will stand for a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Commissioner Bowers moves. Commissioner Carver seconds. Motion is to approve tonight's consent calendar. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to approve the consent calendar. Vote no not to approve.
Mr. Chairman, we have 19 voting yes, 1 no, and 1 absent.
19 yes, 1 no. The consent calendar is approved. At this time, the chair recognizes Senator Overby, Representatives Ramsey and Swan for a special presentation.
Thank you, Chairman Moon and members of the Blount County Board of County Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening to pay tribute, to present a Senate joint resolution to members of the family of Roy Crawford Jr. as we pay tribute to someone who was a true public servant, who exemplified all the spirit of public servant, of being in tune with the people, caring about the people, caring about his employees, caring about his family, and caring about the people of Blount County. The three of us here are all had the opportunity to work with Roy Crawford Jr. when we were members of the county commission. Representative Swan was first. I guess Roy was still purchasing agent at the time. You were a member of the county commission. I was on the county commission at the time when we voted to elect Roy Crawford as our county clerk. And Bob, I guess you served with Roy Jr. the longest as a member of this body. Before we present the resolution to the Crawford family, I'd like to hand the microphone to my colleagues, Representative Swan and Representative Ramsey.
You know, I grew up in the neighborhood with Roy. He was 5 houses up from me. We played together as kids, and I watched him grow up and realized how tough a guy he really was. He had to deal with an issue, and he dealt with it very well. He was a real gentleman and somebody you could work with, very logical and very easy to deal with. But we certainly miss Roy, and I'm glad to be here today to remember him.
And I too am so honored to be a small part of this celebration of 2 of our premier citizens, Roy Crawford Sr. and Roy Crawford Jr. To the family, I say thank you for sharing both of those wonderful citizens with us. I sat on and off up here with Roy Jr. As the clerk for on and off for 20 years, and Margaret Flynn, of course, brings a certain amount of beauty to the surroundings that Roy couldn't bring. But Roy was extremely sharp. He never left anything to chance. And whether you know it or not, Roy was very fast on his feet. I would leave with a black and blue shin where he would kick me when I would make a mistake, and I certainly appreciated his guidance. He was a real treasure to the county commission as well as the courthouse and the clerk's office. He pursued in the information technology and became very versed in it all by himself. I'd go up to his office and see him working on that computer, and it was a challenge back then. We didn't have anybody to help us. Now we got Mike here, but I miss both of them very much. There was nothing like going downtown and seeing Roy Crawford Sr. coming with both of those fine gentlemen. They had a smile on their face. They looked at you and made you feel like you were the only person in the world. I appreciate having known them. I appreciate you sharing them with us for what seems like a brief moment. But, God bless the family. God bless the memory. And I thank all of you so much for sharing this with us tonight.
To the members of of Roy Crawford Jr.'s family, thank you for allowing us to celebrate with you the life and legacy of Roy. We have to present to the family this evening Senate Joint Resolution number 535. And for members of that are here or perhaps watching on TV, a Senate Joint Resolution or a House Joint Resolution is a resolution presented on the floor of both chambers of both the House and the Senate, passed by both the House and the Senate. This was passed unanimously back in March, and then it goes to the governor's desk to be signed. So the resolution bears the signature of our Governor Bill Haslam, Ron Ramsey, Speaker of the Senate, and Beth Harwell, Speaker of the House. This is a resolution to honor the memory of Roy D. Crawford, Jr. of Blount County. Whereas the members of this General Assembly were greatly saddened to learn of the passing of Roy D. Crawford, Jr. of Blount County, whereas Roy Crawford was an exemplary public servant and consummate professional who worked assiduously to improve the quality of life for his fellow citizens as Blount County Clerk, whereas Roy Crawford was a graduate of Maryville High School, he attended Hiwassee College and earned his degree from the University of Tennessee, whereas a longtime fixture in local government, Mr. Crawford began his career in public service in 1975 as purchasing agent for Blount County before becoming county clerk in 1989. Whereas during his tenure as county clerk, Roy Crawford continuously looked for ways in which to better serve the public, including the opening of a second office and a drive-through offering tag renewal services. Whereas Roy Crawford enjoyed the loving companionship of his wife of 22 years, Catherine Henderson Crawford. He is also survived by his parents, Roy, Dorothy, and Roy Crawford Sr., and his sister, Mary Crawford. Whereas Roy Crawford leaves behind an indelible legacy of integrity and probity in public life, compassion and loyalty in private life, and diligence and dedication in all of his chosen endeavors. And whereas it is fitting that the members of this General Assembly should remember the bountiful life of this exceptional public servant and human being. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate of the 109th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, the House of Representatives concurring, that we honor the memory of Roy D. Crawford, Jr., reflecting fondly upon his impeccable character and his stalwart commitment to living the examined life with courage and conviction. Be it further resolved that we express our sympathy and offer our condolences to the family of Roy D. Crawford, Jr. Mr. Chairman, may we walk down this way to present this to Kathy and the members of the family? If we could be joined here in front by members of the Crawford family. Kathy, Mrs. Crawford, Mary, to the whole family, Roy was our friend. I can't remember a time ever calling him where he didn't, as Bob and Art said, had a kind word, a good word, and would say, we'll get it done. Whatever it needs to be done, we'll get it done for the citizens of Blount County. So on behalf of Governor Haslam, Speaker Harwell, Speaker Ramsey, 6.5 million Tennesseans, it is our great honor and privilege to present to the Crawford family Senate Joint Resolution number 535 in honor and memory of our friend, a true Blount Countyan, Roy D. Crawford, Jr. We love you and we wish you, we present this with all best wishes.
Roy was so delighted to grow up in this community that embodied the values he held strong of faith, family, and friends. He enjoyed serving the citizens of Blount County. He enjoyed the rapport with the commissioners. He enjoyed the friendship with you three gentlemen. And I thank you all for honoring him in this way. Did you want to say anything?
I can't believe Duncan doesn't, we got a microphone here, Duncan doesn't want to say anything. God bless you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Senator Overby and Representatives Ramsey and Swan. I'm sure this body concurs with the joint resolution. The next item of business is item C, public input on items on tonight's agenda. Does anyone wish to speak or offer comment on any item on tonight's agenda? If you'll come forward, introduce yourself. This gentleman in the white shirt I've recognized. Okay. I recognize you if you'll come forward. Clerk, only start the clock after the speakers introduce themselves, state the district in which they reside, and the item on the agenda which they'll be giving comment.
My name is Bob Schaefer. I live in Brookmead at 233 Shepherd's Grove Road. I'm discussing the property at Brookmead and Seville Road. Thank you for letting me speak. When this parcel was purchased, it had a history of sinkholes, which Mr. Franklin agreed to repair to an engineer's recommendations. This was done, but may I remind you that Mother Nature controls everything when it comes to sinkholes. I'm hoping that that repair remains. Secondly, one of the things that he did agree to was the liner of the reservoir was to be disposed of. And it is still rolled up by the edge of the fence on several sides. The warranty deed also states that there should be no fuel, hazardous chemicals, or materials stored on this site. Mr. Franklin said he plans to build storage buildings. I'm not sure if there's any way that he can monitor it so completely that for each individual unit and its contents. The runoff from all these buildings and its contents are just uphill and drain towards the city water supply and Little River. If this commission has allowed this zoning to change just for one person, it is also allowing any commercial activity on this property in the future and at the expense and disregard of the surrounding neighbors. Thank you, sir.
My name is Jim Rose. I live in Riverview subdivision, which is an immediate area of the property in question here tonight. It's item 5, and I just want to talk about the original intent of the county commission and the city commissions on the zoning residential and commercial. It's my understanding that those things were supposed to be permanent unless there was a compelling reason to change the residential to commercial, either in the interest of the community or the necessity of the city and the county government. And I've been to several of these meetings now. I've heard no compelling reason whatsoever to change that, no necessity. And so I would just ask that we remain with the original county commissions who implemented these rules and regulations until we hear some kind of compelling reason to do this, of which I have not heard yet. Thank you.
My name is Brown Wright. I live at 68 Twin Island Drive, which is in Riverview Estates 2. It's less than a mile from the Seville Road rezoning request before you. We bought our house there and lived there because of the scenic quality and residential nature of the area. We've lived there 28 years. Drive by this site daily, and as local residents, we are very much opposed to the requested rezoning and respectfully ask that you deny the request for the following reasons. The surrounding area is residential, rural, and very scenic. There are no commercial uses in sight of this property. A commercial use at this location will lower the value of surrounding homes and residential lots and will make the area much less a desirable place to live. Commercial development at this location will increase traffic that's already locally heavy, with poor sight vision and no shoulders on the road. And the spot commercial zone here is totally incompatible with the established uses in the area, as well as the published land use plan for this part of the county, and will establish a dangerous precedent going forward for the residential character of the area. In the zoning request, the property owner says he intends to build storage units on the rezoned property. However, we know that once the property is zoned commercial, any legitimate commercial use can be built there, from a shopping center to a junkyard. And it's this uncertainty over the long term, the negative potential that it would bring about, that concerns us the most. We respectfully ask that you deny the request. Thank you.
Anyone else? The lady in the middle, please. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Marion Fitzgerald. I live in Woodhaven subdivision in the 13 Curves on Sevierville Road. I don't understand why this parcel of land on Highway 411 at Brookmead was sold to Mr. Franklin in the first place. It sits on a blind hillside curve above Maryville's water treatment facility on Little River and is therefore unsuitable for any commercial use because the traffic hazard this would create and because of the potential for damaging runoff to enter our water supply. It even seems unsuitable for most agricultural uses. Maybe somebody with vision and expertise could put in a profitable tree farm or an orchard or a vineyard. I don't know. But rezoning it to commercial is clearly not a good solution. If you vote to do so, please remember that the future new owners could then choose to pursue any permitted commercial use they wish. You are making a decision that affects our long-range future. Everybody talks about property owners' rights, but nobody wants to talk about limitations and responsibilities. Property owners do not have the right to infringe on their neighbors' rights, nor the right to pollute the environment, nor the right to impede traffic on public highways. Landowners do have the responsibility to use their land in a manner that does no harm and that acknowledges the rights of others. Surely the need of the public for safe travel and the protection of our water supply must outweigh the commercial interests and investments of a single individual. I speak for myself and for just about everybody who lives in Woodhaven subdivision in asking you to please vote to reject this rezoning proposal. Thank you.
Lady in the white blouse, please, white jacket.
Hello, my name is Kathy Leach. I live at 1430 Brookmead Avenue. The house that I live in was the 1840s built farmhouse that was the original house on the sheep farm that is now Brookmead subdivision. I have taught trumpet at UT for 35 years and love this area very much. All of us here depend on this commission to represent us as residents of Blount County, and I'd like to thank you for the time spent on this issue and many others. Thank you for listening to our views. We have all heard many objections to the proposed rezoning of Sevierville Road, and I will be brief. I just have a few points I'd like to make. The stretch of road under discussion, Sevierville Road at Brookmead, is beautiful, quiet, and is the reason most of us moved to this area. We've heard countless people over the last few months warn of the danger to our water supply, our wildlife, and warn of the driving hazards that would result from rezoning this parcel of land to commercial. We've heard of grave harm, in other words, that would result from this rezoning. We have not heard of a single benefit that would result. Point number 2, we have heard dozens of people asking that the proposal to rezone be denied. The only person who has spoken in support of this proposal has been the property owner, Mr. Franklin. Point 3, at these hearings, we have heard that property owners should be free to do as they wish with their property, which I actually agree with. But I ask you to consider that all of the people here who are property owners have spent as much time and money in developing their own property as Mr. Franklin has in developing his. I ask that you consider this and ask that you think about how one property owner's wishes could override the wishes of hundreds of people who live on Sevierville Road. Thank you.
Anyone else? If you'll come forward, sir.
Hello, my name is Richard Copeland, and my wife and I live in Baxter Estates, which is about a third of a mile away from the Franklin property. We sent commissioners a letter about a week and a half ago regarding the opposition that we have to the rezoning, along with 20 signatures from residents in Baxter Estates. Mr. Franklin stated before that the city of Maryville told him he could do anything he wants with the property. However, the warranty deed does not. It has numerous restrictions, such as fuel, can't be stored, hazardous chemicals, and such as that. So we're, also this property was zoned R1 at the time. Our biggest objection is that this rezoning would be a precedent which would affect future commercialization in the area once it started, in addition to increasing traffic in the area and pollution sources. So we ask that you consider wisely the rejection of the request. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no hands, do you wish to speak? Come forward.
I'm Chester Franklin. I'm the owner of the property, and I would like to see y'all vote to rezone it. I bought it from the city. They told me I could, they put no restrictions on it. They told me I could do what I wanted to. I wanted to park equipment on it. They told me I could, and then I did, and Mr. whatever, the guy that from the zoning guy told me that I had to get it commercialized before I could park equipment on it and stuff. And I'd just like to do something with the property. I've paid taxes on it for about 10 years and done nothing with it. Let it just sit there, and I'd like to do something with the property. Thank you.
Anyone else? If you'll come forward, please.
Hi, I'm Kathy Skinner. I live on Martin Mill Pike. I have a concern about this issue, and I'll just be real brief. Suffice to say that Mr. Franklin has said repeatedly that Maryville sold it to him with no restrictions, but that's not true, because some residents of Brookmead dug up the warranty deed, and there are restrictions. And in fact, there's a stipulation that any future buyer of the property be advised that there is sinkhole hazard potential. So even though he has spent money to fix, he hired an engineer to fix the sinkhole. So we don't know what Maryville told him. We know what Mr. Franklin is telling us that Maryville told him, but that's hearsay, and that was some years ago. So just want to be sure you are aware that there are deed restrictions, and that's how it was sold to him. So anyway, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no hands, the next item of business is item D1, confirmation of the mayor's appointment of John Lamb as interim Blount County Building Commissioner. The chair will stand for a motion to confirm the mayor's appointment of John Lamb as the interim Blount County Building Commissioner. Commissioner Carter moves, Commissioner French seconds. The motion is to confirm the mayor's appointment of John Lamb as the interim Blount County Building Commissioner. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to confirm the appointment. Vote no, not to confirm.
Mr. Chairman, we have 18 voting yes, 2 no.
18 yes, 2 no, 1 absent. The appointment is confirmed. There's no business under item E. The next item of business is F1. The chair will stand for a motion on item F1, Resolution 1607007, to amend the general county budget by $16,200.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve F1, F2, and F3 as they are all general county.
Second.
Commissioner Farmer moves. To adopt the resolutions covered under F1, F2, and F3, the motion is seconded by Commissioner Samples. The motion is to adopt resolutions 1607, 007, 008, and 009. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for the mayor, and then I have a question for Mr. Wilson.
State your question, first question, please.
Okay. On page 31 on the mayor's signature, this is a document for 2016, but it's signed March 11th of 2012. Is there a reason? Was this negotiated? The other party signed it March 29th of 2016.
Mayor Mitchell, you're recognized.
Page 31.
See, your microphone's not coming on for some reason. Commissioner Monroe, you're recognized. Go ahead.
Your signature is March 11th of 2012, and the other party's signature is March 29th of 2016. I'm wanting to know why there's a 4-year difference.
Mr. Mayor, could that suffice to be an error, just an error in the date? 3/11/12 versus 16. Pardon me?
Okay, why are we now just seeing a signature from TEMA for 2016?
I'm assuming that each year, this is like some of the other FEMA grants we get, that once we apply for it, they award it each year that they sign, the year that they award it. I guess it never gets put back in front of us. If the original grant application is for 4 years on the grant.
So there'll be a new one next year? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Monroe. Now your second question.
Yes, for the agricultural extension personnel, I was just wanting to ask Mr. Wilson a question, if he could come forward.
Ask the chair, and we'll get an answer.
Okay, it says matching funds, and it says a 1.5% salary increase. Are we paying half of the 1.5%, or are we doubling it for a 3% increase?
The commissioner, actually, the university gave a 1.5, and we customarily match that through Kronos, through the wage and hour study. I believe those people with a successful personnel evaluation would qualify for a 1.8% increase.
So are we giving a 0.3% increase?
No, we're giving a 1.5. That's, the resolution is asking us to provide what has customarily been done, 1.5, what the university has provided.
So how much are we actually paying versus?
1.5.
And how much is UT?
Mr. Vineyard, you'll go ahead and address that. I'll let the chair's exhausted their knowledge. Your microphone is not working, so speak up.
It is a request from the university that, and these are shared employees, we contract with the university for the use of these employees, so our net cost is basically half.
So, okay, so we're paying half, okay. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kaler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Due to the fact that F1, 2, and 3 have been combined, I want to make this statement. I strongly support all three of the resolutions, but due to the fact that Resolution 16-07-007 will be awarding $16,200 in grant money to the City of Maryville Fire Department, of which I am an employee, I will have to abstain from the entire block. Thank you.
Commissioner Daly, you're recognized.
I have a question too on Resolution 16-07-009.
State your question.
The question is, it says under estimated revenue, other / and use of fund balance. So where is the other money? Does that mean that the university is the other?
Mr. Vineyard, recognize you.
What's in front of you is the proposed use of fund balance.
Right.
Over $1,000. We had about $10,000, which was half of the vacant position that was returned to this year, last year. And the request is take this increase of $1,000 with use of fund balance.
Commissioner Daly, you still have the floor.
So other doesn't mean anything.
What it means is that's the name of the account that the state asked us to use.
Okay, so the state's, thank you.
Are the members ready for the question? If you're in favor of adopting Resolution 16-07-008 and 9, vote yes. If you're opposed to adoption, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, we have 16 voting yes, 3 no, 1 abstaining.
16 yes, 3 no's. The resolutions are adopted. The next item of business is F4. The chair will stand for motion on item F4, Resolution 16-06-004, a resolution to amend the zoning resolution of Blount County, Tennessee, Sections 9.1B and 9.2B, to add privately funded nonprofit community libraries to the uses permitted as special exceptions. Commissioner Bowers moves. Is there a second? Commissioner French seconds. The motion is to adopt Resolution 16-06-004. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to adopt 16-06-004. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt.
Mr. Chairman, we have 20 voting yes and 1 absent.
20 yes, 1 absent. The resolution is adopted. The next item of business is F5. The chair will stand for motion on item F5, Resolution 16-06-002, a resolution to amend the zoning map of Blount County, Tennessee from R1, Rural District 1, to C, Commercial, for property located at the corner of Sevierville Road and Brookmead Avenue. The property is identified on tax map 038, parcel 070.06. Commissioner Stinnett moves. Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Melton seconds. The motion is to adopt Resolution 16-06-002. Are the Commissioner Stinnett, you're recognized.
Chairman, could someone tell us exactly how much money the owner has invested into this piece of property?
Mr. Franklin, if you'll come forward, please. If you desire to answer the question, you don't have to answer. We don't have power to compel you.
Do what?
It's totally voluntary for you to answer the question. You do not have to answer the question if you don't want to.
What was the question?
How much money have you invested in the property?
Okay, I paid the city of Maryville $40,000 for it. I spent $110 getting it prepared. I had it tested. I had the engineers to tell me how to prepare the sinkholes, and then I had to regrade all of it.
So $110,000.
150.
150,000.
I paid 40, and I spent 110.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Franklin.
Thank you,
Commissioner
sir.
Stinnett, you still have the floor.
What about the, now my understanding this is within the growth boundary. And what I'd like to ask is if Mr. Lamb could come and explain to us exactly the purpose of the growth boundary in this county, in Blount County.
Member asks unanimous consent to have Mr. Lamb come up and educate us about the urban growth boundaries. Objection? Hearing no objection, if you'll come up, Mr. Lamb.
That's a tall order to educate you on the 1101 growth.
The chair apologizes, Mr. Lamb, our new interim building commissioner.
Right. Well, I was around when the 1101 growth plan was formulated and adopted and went through procedures in the state and arbitration and was finally approved by the county commission. The purpose of the 1101 growth plan was to define growth areas of towns and cities in which they could annex a little bit freer than outside of those boundaries. In fact, it was a very strict limitation on annexation outside those boundaries. So primarily was for defining annexation areas. In the process, it was kind of a planning process. The towns were supposed to identify areas in which they would grow in the next 20 years. This was back in 1999. The towns, I think, in Blount County were a little bit exuberant in how far they would grow outwards in 20 years because in the last 16, 17 years, they haven't gotten anywhere near where their urban growth boundaries are, except for the town of Louisville, which annexed their whole urban growth boundary. So that basically is it. It was an annexation type of law. It did define certain areas within the county. One was the urban growth boundary, in which you would expect to have high density development, residential, commercial, industrial development. And those areas outside of the urban growth boundary could be planned growth areas, which we didn't get too much of in the county, but also rural areas where you would expect low to moderate density residential, commercial, and industrial growth. That's about as succinct as I can get without a long memo like I'm known for.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner Stinnett, you still have the floor, sir. Commissioner Kaler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really do not like to abstain from a vote. The good people of Blount County District 3 elected me to make decisions on their behalf. But sometimes conflict of interest tends to interfere with that. Most of the people that have spoke on behalf of this property of Mr. Franklin's that is in question have mentioned the fact that the city of Maryville was involved, the city of Maryville sold the property, the city of Maryville said this or that. Also, the city of Maryville Planning Commission, to my knowledge, did not recommend this approval. So if anybody wishes to check my voting record, I encourage them to, because I have tried to be consistent in the fact that anytime I make a vote that I consider to be a possible, even if it is reasonably possible to be a conflict of interest due to the fact that I'm an employee of the city of Maryville, that I have abstained from that vote, and I will do so again. Thank you.
Commissioner Daly, you're recognized.
I just want to say no matter what Maryville's growth is projected right now, it is in Blount County, and we're the ones to make the decision. Thank you.
Commissioner Carver, you're recognized.
I do have one question with Mr. Lamb. If this is approved as R1, or not R1, but into commercial, can he do whatever, what he wants? Even though there's restriction on the deed about...
Commissioner Carver,
Can that question...
questions go through the chair, and the answer to that is yes.
He can do whatever he wants.
No, not whatever he wants. Once it's zoned commercial, the use of the land, any qualifying commercial use would be acceptable. There again, it would have to go through planning. If you'll come forward, Mr. Lamb.
May I ask one other question?
Let's answer this one first.
Well, the commercial zone does define a long list of uses, very broad: retail, trade, service trades. There's quite a few on there. I can't remember them all, but they are general commercial uses. So yes, a very broad general commercial use could go in there.
And permitted special exceptions, just like the
There are
previous
also
resolution.
special exceptions.
Okay. Commissioner Carver, your next question.
Then also on the deed where it does show restrictions to, if this is approved to go commercial, do those restrictions, are they held in place?
Mr. Lamb.
The county does not enforce private restrictions. It would be up to the parties involved in those restrictions to enforce them.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Any other questions, Mr. Carver?
No, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Archer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have not been a real fan of what's supposedly called spot zoning, and I think this is an excellent example of why it is a dubious suggestion. I've always, with few exceptions, noticed that it comes to the benefit of very few to the detriment of very many, and I find few exceptions with that. I ask my fellow commissioners to vote on this as if they had a home in this general vicinity. I think that would make a huge difference on how they vote. We have a lot of people. I've gotten more phone calls and more mail on this particular item than I have anything since I've been here. And I see very few benefits to the people that abut this property. I see some huge property devaluation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lewis, you recognize.
One question, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Lamb.
State your question.
Question is, it does state in here the City of Maryville did not recommend the request. However, I don't see where it says why they did not recommend the request. Question is, would John know the reasons for that decision from the city?
Mr. Lamb.
I was not at that meeting, so I can't speak from direct observation of what their proceedings were. Roger was at that meeting, so I'm not sure. Whatever was stated in that letter was, at least in part, the reasons that they voted, but each individual on that planning commission probably had a reason. It may or may not have been stated in that letter.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Commissioner Lewis.
Other question, Mr. Chairman, is that it looks like part of maybe the road frontage, part of this parcel is either borders on or maybe in the flood zone. Does it?
Mr. Lamb.
It shows area of minimal flood hazard. I just didn't know if that put that particular part of the property in flood zone or not.
Mr. Lamb.
I think the area of minimal flood hazard is the X zone. Is that the way it's designated? Because I don't know that any of this property is actually in the floodplain.
If it is, the water treatment plant would be also.
I think part of it is, but
It is,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't think any of this property is in actually the floodplain. The area of minimal hazard is what they term the X zone, which means you could get flooded because a whole lot of rain's there, but it's not going to be coming up from the river.
Okay.
Mr. Lewis.
I just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Commissioner Samples, you're recognized.
Don't run off, John.
State your question here. We'll go there.
Since extraterritorial zoning, and I was here when all that happened, how much weight have we put on the recommendations from Maryville Planning Commission or Alcoa or any of them into the areas that are actually in the county since that extraterritorial zoning went into effect? Have I know we've had this before. How much weight have we put into what they have recommended to us? I remember many times as chairman getting letters from Maryville Planning Commission telling us what they've done. Can you speak to that?
Mr. Lamb, go ahead.
I can't recount all of them, but you had one tonight, which was a change in the zoning ordinance text, and that was recommended by both Alcoa and Maryville, and I'd have you to search your own mind as to how much weight that had in your decision. I don't know quite, nothing comes to mind where there was a conflict between the county planning commission recommendation and the city recommendations. I would, however, point out that the county recommendations are not statutorily mandatory. It is only the city recommendations that are. The reason being, if it's in their planning region, it does require by state statutes their recommendation before you act. It doesn't mean you have to go by that recommendation, but it means you have to at least receive it.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Commissioner Samples, you have the floor.
That's right. I'm done.
Thank you, Commissioner Samples. Commissioner Bowers, you recognize.
Yeah, John, don't go anywhere. No, we've heard this referred to as spot zoning a lot here, and I'd just like for you to clarify if spot zoning along an urban growth boundary road is considered spot zoning when we should expect some growth along that highway that's been taken in by the urban growth boundary by the city of Maryville.
Mr. Lamb.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, it's okay. You're recognized.
Since I have spoke to that in the Planning Commission a couple of times, there's been a contention that it is spot zoning, and my answer is not necessarily, and I'll tell you why I think it is not necessarily. First off, you look at the basic plans of the jurisdiction. Now, in this case, it is actually a split jurisdiction. It is county and it is city, because the city has its urban growth boundary there. The county, when they defined the urban growth boundary, did not want Maryville out that far. We had a boundary that was defined considerably closer into Maryville, but we lost that case. I mean, we came to within 500 feet of the river. That defines what is basically your prime consideration. Your decision by state statutes has to be consistent with the urban growth boundary legislation, which defines that as an area for high density residential, commercial, and industrial. Now, that's of course going to be dependent on utilities and infrastructure and so forth. So if you look at our plan, even our 1101 growth plan from the county standpoint and our land use plan, you'll see that there's an inconsistency there. We wanted that to be rural. However, the urban growth boundary defined it as urban, potentially urban. So which one do you give weight to? Well, statutory requirement is you give weight to the urban growth boundary. Now, that does not define specific uses in specific places in the county. So you need to use your judgment in this case as to whether this proposal is the right fit to the right place, given that it is still consistent with the urban growth boundary for high density development.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. Commissioner Bowers, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to ask Mr. Lamb if this is comparable to what we rezoned on Montville Road, which was right at the very edge of the urban growth boundary. I know that taxes were being paid some of the time on it on commercial, but it had never been truly rezoned.
Mr. Lamb.
Since I didn't handle either one of these directly, I would say that yes, some of the same thought process could go into that, because it was urban growth boundary. Outside the urban growth boundary, we have what's called a rural arterial commercial zone. Inside the urban growth boundary, the applicable zone for commercial would be the C commercial zone. And you used your judgment down Montvale Road that it was in the urban growth boundary, and you rezoned the piece of property to commercial. Beyond that, I'm not sure what the comparability is here because these are two different situations.
I think that does it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask consent to read from literature that was presented to the Planning Commission for our education. We have to have, I think it's 6 hours a year. From the urban growth boundary, which is the boundaries defined as a map, and it's on a major arterial road. Mr. Lamb's PowerPoint says, reasonably projected as the likely site of high-density commercial, industrial, and residential growth for the next 20 years. One more item, please. Later in his PowerPoint, he says, all land use decisions made by the legislative body and the Planning Commission shall be consistent with the growth plan. That's all I need.
Pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1606-002. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, we have 8 voting yes, 11 no, 1 abstaining, and 1 absent.
8 yes, 11 no, 1 abstain. The resolution is not adopted. The next item of business is F6. The chair will stand for motion on item F6, Resolution 1607-004, a resolution to restructure the Blount County Human Resource / Insurance Committee. Commissioner, did you make the motion? Is there a motion? Commissioner Lewis moves. And I hear a second from Commissioner Stinnett. The motion, we're not in order. We'll stop till we're in order. Okay, the motion is to adopt Resolution 1607-004. Commissioner French, you're recognized.
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. In the resolution, it states that the Human Resources Committee will consist of 5 Blount County commissioners and other elected officials. I won't go with that. My question is, it also states the Insurance Committee shall be composed of 5 members of the county legislative body. I'm just curious if these are separate.
These are separate.
Will be separate entities in both. Okay, that was my question.
In the first resolve portion, shall become 2 committees. Shall become 2 committees. Okay. Anyone else? Commissioner French, you're recognized.
I'm not sure you answered my question. I know it shall be 2 separate committees. My question was, to the 5 members on the Human Resources Committee, is it 5 separate members on the Insurance Committee? Or can the members of the Human Resources Committee serve on the Insurance Committee?
Says 5 commissioners.
So we're talking about 10 separate positions.
Could be,
but
or
it could be
the same 5.
Okay, that was my
just
question.
a moment. Commissioner Stinnett, you're the sponsor. Does the chair understand that correctly?
Yes, Chairman. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Stinnett, you seek the floor. Commissioner Caskey, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I wanted to commend my colleague for bringing a resolution that that is better than the other one. I want to commend him for doing that.
Commissioner Caskey, let's be careful now in our criticism.
I will try very hard, Mr. Chairman. The resolution goes a long way to doing what we want to do. It's a good resolution. I think with a couple of little tweaks that it could be an excellent resolution. Therefore, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make an amendment, offer an amendment, and I have an amendment with the clerk.
If you can go ahead and read it. For the record, read it, please.
At the fourth whereas, after the insurance committee shall be composed of 5 members of the county legislative body nominated by, strike the county mayor. The new line would read, the insurance committee shall be composed of 5 members of the county legislative body nominated by and confirmed by the county legislative body.
So your motion to amend is strike county mayor, insert county legislative body.
The county legislative body is already mentioned. So.
County legislative body will nominate and confirm. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Caskey, seconded by Daly. Striking nominated by the mayor, by county mayor, and changed to nominated by and confirmed by the county legislative body. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Discussion on the motion to amend.
Mr. Chairman.
You have the floor, Commissioner Caskey.
The purpose of this is not to cut the mayor out of anything, but if this is to be a committee of the commission, then it should be appointed and confirmed by the commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pending motion is to amend Resolution 1607-004 by striking county mayor and putting in the word nominated and confirmed by the county legislative body. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to accept the amendment. Vote no, not to accept. Commissioner Daly, yeah, you're working. $14 yes, 6 no. The amendment passes. The pending motion is to adopt Resolution 1607-004 as amended. Commissioner Caskey, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to offer another amendment.
State your amendment.
Be it further resolved, after an elected official appointed by the county mayor, strike the word and. Same paragraph following Blount County School Department, insert the director of schools and the county trustee. The same paragraph following the Blount County Insurance Committee shall be comprised of 5 Blount County commissioners, strike by the county mayor.
All right. Go through it one more time, Commissioner Caskey.
Be it further resolved, after an elected official appointed by the county mayor, strike the word and. Same paragraph following Blount County School Department, insert the director of schools and the county trustee.
Okay, I got Blount County, the director of Blount County Schools.
Yes.
And
the county trustee.
County trustee. Okay.
Same paragraph following the Blount County Insurance Committee shall be comprised of 5 Blount County commissioners, strike by the county mayor.
nominated and confirmed by the Blount County legislative body. Is that-
Yes, yes, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Daly seconds. Pending motion is to amend Resolution 1607004 by adding the Director of Blount County Schools and the county trustee, and striking county mayor, making the nomination and confirmation by the county legislative body. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Commissioner Caskey, let's see, we have a second. Commissioner Caskey, you do wish the floor for discussion? You're
Yes.
the motion maker?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and I'll be very brief. The purpose for this is the Blount County Schools is the largest employer. They have the most members on the insurance plan, and they're the largest contributor, and they should have an equal representation on the committee. I don't know how the committee can manage and administer a $20 million program if you don't have the trustee on there to tell you how the money is working. I don't know how you can do that. And that's the purpose behind this, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner French, you're recognized on the motion to amend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious if the director of schools can send a representative, or is it he himself?
Commissioner French, the way I understand the motion to amend, it is by position, and I'm going to ask for clarification, the Director of Blount County Schools. Is that correct, Commissioner Caskey?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Stinnett, you're recognized on the motion to amend.
Chairman, I've spent a lot of time over the last 6 months talking to these elected officers. I can promise you one of those two elected officers will have no intention of participating in this committee. He doesn't want to be a part of it, and I think for us to assign one of these elected officers to this committee without their approval is not something that would be wise in our decision making. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Lewis, you're recognized on the motion to amend.
I would echo Commissioner Stenett's opinion, and also, I mean, the way this is structured, we have a representative from the school department already, and see no reason to add an additional person. Thank you.
Commissioner Caskey, you're recognized. Well, Commissioner Crowe just came on the board to speak on the motion to amend.
I don't think if I were an elected official, I would want to be on this committee. But I don't think it's right that we put some of the elected officials on this committee and let the others have a safe pass. This is the second most important decision made for Blount County employees, other than salary, and I think that their leaders should be held accountable for making those decisions, whether they want to or not.
Commissioner Caskey, you're recognized for the second time on the motion to amend.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The reason, and I've stated the reason for two representatives from the school system. The courthouse has two representatives on here. The mayor is on there, and the mayor appoints someone on there. So that's two on there for that. This kind of levels the playing field. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pending motion is a motion to amend, adding the Director of Schools and the Blount County trustee, and the nomination and confirmation by the county legislative body. If you're in favor of the motion to amend, vote yes. If you're opposed to the amendment, vote no.
Mr. Chairman, we have 11 voting yes, 9 no, and 1 absent.
11 yes, 9 no. The motion to amend carries. Pending motion is now to adopt Resolution 1607-004 as amended, unless there's other amendments. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to adopt the resolution as amended. Vote no not to adopt.
Mr. Chairman, we have 14 voting yes, 6 no.
14 yes, 6 no. The resolution is adopted. Next item of business is F7. The chair will stand for a motion on item F7, Resolution 1607-005, resolution to continue the current employee insurance vendors for Blount County government.
So moved.
Commissioner Carver moves. Is there a second? Commissioner Kaler seconds. Motion is to adopt Resolution 1607-005. Are the members ready for the question? The motion is to adopt Resolution 1607-005. Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt.
Mr. Chairman, we have 20 voting yes and 1 absent.
20 yes, 1 absent. The resolution is adopted. The next item of business is F8. The chair will stand for a motion on item F8, Resolution 1607-006, a resolution to continue the current plan designs for medical plans 1 and 2 for Blount County government.
So moved.
Commissioner Lewis moves. Commissioner Carver seconds. Motion is to adopt Resolution 1607-006. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to adopt the resolution. Vote no not to adopt.
We have 16 voting yes, 4 no.
16 yes, 4 no. The resolution is adopted. The next item of business is F9. The chair will stand for a motion on item F9, setting a public hearing. August 9, 2016, 6 p.m., room 430, the Blount County Courthouse, regarding a resolution to amend the zoning map of Blount County, Tennessee from R1, Rural District 1, to RAC, Rural Arterial Commercial, for part of the property located at 4741 Highway 411 South. The property is identified on tax map 089, parcel 100.01. Commissioner French moves. Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Stinnett seconds. Motion is to set a public hearing. Are the members ready for the question? Vote yes to set the public hearing. Vote no not to set.
Mr. Chairman, we have 20 voting yes, 1 absent.
20 yes, 0 no. The public hearing is set. The next item of business is item G, statements and announcements. I believe, just a moment. Commissioner Daly, you're recognized.
I just want to make an announcement that the Corrections Partnership meeting has been changed to Monday night, the 25th at 6:30.
Thank you. Commissioner Bowers, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to offer a thanks to Roger Fields once again for his service for Blount County.
Commissioner Caskey, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, I want to thank the men and women in blue. They've had another rough week since we were here last, and we owe them a debt of gratitude. We owe those folks. They go out there every day. They get up. They kiss their wife goodbye. They hug their kids. They don't know if they're going home safe or not, and we owe them more than just thank you, but I want to thank all the men and women in the blue out there that are putting it on the line so that we have a safe journey wherever we go. And I want to thank them.
Mayor Mitchell, do you have a statement, sir?
Yes, on August the 5th, 8 a.m., I will be calling a special call meeting. The purpose of that meeting will be a presentation by PM Code Finance, Financial Management regarding the upcoming county debt and refinancing options that we're going to be faced with in December. So that will be, this announcement will be in the paper, but I want to make you all aware that August 5th at 8 a.m. that presentation will be given to you as commission.
Anyone else? Agenda item H, input on items not on the agenda. Come forward, Mr. Hammond. Come forward and introduce yourself.
James Hammondtree, District 2. And I went to vote early. I went to vote early and I was wearing this shirt, and I was told I couldn't wear it in and vote. Now, a lady didn't show me anything, regulation or something, but I didn't like that because I put it on just to irritate liberals, and I enjoy doing that. So I'm just wondering, well, watch it now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got within my 3 minutes that time.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Thank you for bringing some humor to our meeting, Mr. Hammond. I do really appreciate that. The chair does appreciate it. Thank you. We'll be in order. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. Agenda item I. Without objection, we'll adjourn. Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned.